Hey sewing friends, I wanted to show you two makes that I completed this week. The first being the Merchant Mills Bantam Vest from their workbook. And here's a picture of the vest. It is just a very basic, very simple racerback woven tank top. And I had actually decided to make that out of a double gauze that I had bought from them. With the idea of wearing it with a pair of shorts as sort of summer pajamas or as something to wear to bed in our hot summer months. And so I'm cleaning out my sewing room and I come across the shorts, and I showed you these last week. I come across the shorts that I made. And again, this is a dark blue double gauze that I had got from Merchant Mills. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember making those. And then it's like, but I never did finish the top, and I'm like, where is that material? So, upon further cleaning and sorting in my room, I came across, the extra material, and I was able to complete the Bantam Vest out of the double gauze. And it was actually just in time because I tell you, all last week I have been in bed recuperating and quarantining with COVID. Can you believe it? This is the first time I've ever gotten it. I thought I had escaped it with but alas, I got it. So the first 3 nights were just, I felt terrible. So I was very glad that I had these finished in order for me to make them. And then I wanted to go ahead and show you what I liked about this pattern, because it looks very basic, it looks very simple, but one thing I like about the Merchant Mills workbook is they have you do, even though they're very basic patterns, very simple, they have you do a lot of nice techniques on it, which makes you feel like you're actually sewing, slow sewing, which I always find very relaxing and just brings a lot of joy to me. And I'll show you with another Bantam Vest that I had made a couple of years ago, actually, out of their linen, their 185 linen. And I have worn this and washed this and worn this and washed this so many times, and I gotta say, the material just keeps getting softer and nicer. And because of the techniques that they have you use in putting it together, this has really stood the test of time. I mean, here it is, it's still white or mostly white, and it still looks good. And as I said, for years, like at least a couple, 2-3 years, I've just worn it and washed it all summer long for several seasons. So anyhow, one of the first things they do is they have you make it with French seams. So here's my side seam on the outside, and then on the inside is a really nice finished French seam. And that works really well with a linen as well as the double gauze, because I went ahead and did the French seam on my double gauze, because both of these fabrics can tend to fray. So when you do a French seam, it just seals everything in and keeps it nice and tidy. Then the other feature that you do, which I like, is around the armhole and the neckline, you finish it off with a bias binding. And you can use store-bought or any fabric that you want, but I've chosen, and the instructions have you use just the same material. So you cut out the fabric on the bias, and instead of sewing it on, most of the times you sew it on to the front of the garment and then you turn it to the inside. For just a little bit of interest, I think they have you go ahead and sew it on the inside, and then you wrap it around so that it is a little bit on the outside here, and then you do some top stitching. And again, it just adds a little bit of interest, a little bit of texture to an otherwise pretty plain basic top. So that is the first make that I completed this week. Okay, the second thing that I completed this week or last week was the laundry day dress, I guess. I made the tank dress, but not with the high-low hem, just a regular one. And, I didn't quite understand this pattern. This is actually super easy. It's like making a t-shirt or a tank top, but it didn't make a lot of sense to me. And let me tell you why. First, here's the dress. and made it out of a cotton jersey, cotton lycra. And yeah, I think I'll like it, and I think I'll wear it, and I got some plans for it. But the pattern, let me show you the bodice, the front piece. Oops. It's a pattern piece, crackling. So here we have this. Let me give you some room. Now, and I checked the line like 3 or 4 times to make sure I was using the right cutting line, because doesn't this seem like an awfully short, first of all, doesn't it seem awfully short from shoulder down to the bottom of the armhole? And then doesn't this seem like a very very tight turn here? I mean, yeah, so I wasn't sure about it. And sure enough, when I made up the dress the first time, it was super tight under the arms. So much so that, you know, I put it on and I wore it for a while, and I did some work at the computer, and I did a little bit of housework and all. And it didn't take me long to realize, yeah, it's not going to work. It's going to bother me. And so what I ended up doing is I tried on the dress, and I had to unpick. I had done the top stitching around the arm side as well as serged, you know, the binding, arm binding on. So I had to unpick the excuse me, the top stitching, which actually wasn't that bad because I did it on my cover stitch. I just used a single needle, and so once I was able to get the looper thread up, you know, you could it just came undone. So that was pretty easy. And same thing with the serged end. So I went ahead and got that off, the binding off, and then I cut it down. I just had to kind of, you know, pinch out where I thought I wanted it and put a pin there, and probably removed, I don't know, 1.25 inches, I think, and then just sort of blended it in because it came up really high. And then after I put it on, it felt much better, more comfortable, so that I could at least would feel comfortable wearing this throughout the day. I did do a center seam down the back. I don't know if you can see that. So that I could remove, I think, about 1 3/4 inches or probably 2 inches for my sway back adjustment, and I'm glad that I went ahead and made that adjustment. And then, yeah, so I want to make this again because I don't quite understand. The sleeves. And then when I made their Happy Day, or no, Summer Basics tank top, I remember the same thing. I thought that it was very short and very, what's the word? The curve was very tight. So I want to compare that pattern too, because it just didn't make sense to me. And so I'm thinking I might be missing something, but I don't know. The way I feel now is, though, it's this dress, I think it looks fine and it feels fine. And so this weekend, I also plan on starting on my Rhapsody journey, as far as making all the versions and perhaps several dresses with different sleeves. One thing that I am trying to do this year is to try and use a lot of fabric that's in my stash. Unfortunately, you know, I look in cleaning out my sewing room, I'm looking at a lot of the fabrics I have, and a lot of it I bought not realizing when I was starting my sewing journey again, when I started sewing, I wasn't sure what to buy, so I just oftentimes said, okay, I need more color in my wardrobe. So I would buy something not realizing that the pattern wasn't maybe my style, or the colors don't really go with my coloring. And so I do have a lot of fabric that unfortunately is not the best choice for me, but that's what I'm going to work with. So I did decide, though, that with every Rhapsody that I make, I'm going to try as much as I can accommodate in my stash to find something that would go with it. So, you know, to make a shirt, I can make a skirt, or I can make a pair of pants or shorts or something, so that I'm not creating, you know, 8 orphan Rhapsodies that just sit in my closet and don't get worn. So So one of the first fabrics that I have is this Moroccan lawn, which you've seen the fabric before. I did make a patina blouse out of it, and I'll use this because I only have 2 yards. Actually, I think I have 1 3/4 yards left of this. So I think I'll probably do the sleeveless or the cap sleeve, either the sleeveless or maybe the cap sleeve version for this material. And then so I had bought several years ago, I had bought this white denim, I think from Britex Fabrics. I think it's a 10 ounce or it might be an 8 ounce. I'm not sure. I think it's closer to a 10 ounce white denim. Excuse me, not realizing that white isn't really my color. But the reason I bought it was because I wanted to make a white denim white denim skirt out of this. And it's my understanding that Itch to Stitch just came out with a new pattern for a denim type skirt. And so I want to give that a look because I think that might go pretty well. Now imagine there's going to be some hardware and all to break up the stark whiteness, but I'm thinking a denim skirt might work well with this top, this Rhapsody, this material. You see there is some white in there. And it may not go perfect, but you know what? I have to go with what I have. So I'm thinking that in addition to, you know, maybe not going perfectly with this, I can also wear the patina blouse, and then I think a white denim or white jean skirt will actually complement a lot of things that are tops that are in my wardrobe. Let me see. The next fabric that I have is this. Let me see. This is a viscose Riccardi lawn from Lady McElroy. So it's very drapey. And this one I think I might use for one of the 3/4 sleeves, like maybe this one here, this Rhapsody. I don't know if you can see it. But I thought it would pair nicely with this twill, cotton twill, as maybe a pair of shorts. And again, more of a structured pair of shorts, like, you know, one with a waistband and a front fly zip and a button. So I thought that would work nicely as far as one of my Rhapsodies. Then what else have I got here? Then other drapey material I have, obviously, is a leopard print, which I think will make a very nice Rhapsody. Again, I'm going to go ahead and measure off 2 yards or whatever, you know, based on the sleeve, and get it in the washer to pre-wash. Then we have this off-white viscose that I have, and who doesn't need a basic off-white? Sure, I think I might do the sleeveless one with this off-white. And then the last kind of viscosey, floaty fabric, excuse me, my nose itches from my COVID. I think the last one, I don't know that this is actually Rhapsody material, but we're gonna make one out of it, is this really beautiful green and off-white kind of gray elephant here, which the fabric is lovely. I don't know if the denim skirt would work with this or not, but I'm gonna give it a go. We'll see. There's a part of me that thinks, you know, since this is white, I could probably dye it, but I've never dyed fabric before, so I don't know how that would go. But anyhow, that's what's going to be keeping me busy this weekend, making wraps. So that's all I have for this week. I hope everyone's doing well, and I will see you next time. Bye.